Hello and welcome to another Robcast, Revenge of the Nerd podcast. I am Rob Suchetto, and I am the inventor of zombie portraits and pop culture guru. It's great to be back, guys. I've been away for about a couple weeks. Super busy. The heat wave we just finished with a few days ago. Now we're back into the cold for some reason. Really kind of stymied my productiveness in general. Really didn't do much. The heat and humidity really knocks me out. And it was everything that I had in me to do work while that heat wave was going on. It was like a few days. Like 3 or 4 days or 2 or 3 days or something like that. Anyway, it was enough to really kill me. I hate it. But now I'm back. I'm ready to do another podcast, and I hope you guys missed me. But I'm back now. So I was wondering what podcast to do next, what subject to do next, and someone had sent in, this is another fan request, and someone sent in this, and they said, you seem to be super passionate about and love all things pop culture, but are there any aspects of pop culture that you dislike? Like comics, comic artists, I'm assuming the comic industry, artists, wrestlers, wrestling, toys, music, movies, etc. Yeah. There is some things I dislike in pop culture, to me the things okay. So let me just say this. The things I like about pop culture far outweigh the things I dislike about pop culture. Usually the things I dislike about pop culture are very like personal things. They're not sort of crowd mentality, like just sort of, I'm going along with the bandwagon of people who hate things. They're as passionate I am about a lot of aspects of pop culture, I'm just as passionate, and those things are just as personal when it comes to things I dislike. Again, anything that I say in these podcasts, as far as my dislike or like about anything, it's you have to remember it's just opinion, okay? So it's my personal opinion about whatever it is. So whatever I'm about to say, just keep in mind that it's just my opinion. It doesn't. I'm not trying to shut anyone's like for things down or shame. Do the shaming thing where or anything like that. I come from a time far away where it's like, the things that I love and the things that I dislike come from a real place, and I will often give you reasons why I dislike certain things. So to start it off, this individual mentioned comics and artists. So one of the things I dislike about the comic book industry, as a whole, is that the fact that it's dominated by two giant forces, Marvel and DC, kind of is a bit of a rotten thing. It's kind of like in wrestling too. So maybe I can wrap both things up in one thing. WWE has been the massive, only game in town apparently for some wrestlers, and they dominate they used to have competition in WCW, but that has been a long time since there was any competition there. So they never really had competition. So the product became lazy, tired. Vince McMahon is generally in charge of the product still. He has the final say on everything. And I find a lot of the people in charge of large companies, especially in the entertainment industry, are very out of touch. Like they're these massively rich people that live in these, ivory towers, and it's kind of true. Like it's kind of true. I'm obviously being facetious about that, but it's kind of true. Like a lot of these giant CEOs and people that are in charge of the entertainment industries are very out of touch. So like Marvel and DC. Sometimes they'll get some really fantastic creators, but they rely on old tropes and repetition and things that have worked in the past. And I find a lot of them too will jump on current trending bandwagons, which are often like shoehorned ideas, and you can tell, man, like you can tell when things are painfully obvious that they're trying to be more diverse, and kind of shoehorn that idea in, with the LGBTQT community and things, and trying to like shoehorn characters in that are from the community to appeal to that market. 9 times out of 10 that market doesn't care about the industry, comics or whatever in general, but it's like, no, we got to get that in there. We got to turn every character that we've had into a female character, and they don't realize that it doesn't make those characters stronger, it makes them weaker. Create your own new female characters or culturally diverse characters or whatever. That's what makes them stronger. You don't take like a character that's been a white male or a white female or whatever, and then just turn them black or gay or whatever. That you're doing them a disservice. You're doing that culture a disservice. You're doing you're doing these people a disservice when you're doing that, in my view. Things like in the wrestling industry, it's the same kind of thing. They try to do this, empowerment thing, and it's like so on the nose, it's so ham-handed that it really, it's like, guys, you have no other ideas than to just take the stuff that's gone before and then just turn it into something else, but it's the same name of character or whatever. Like, I find that so lazy and predictable. So I really dislike that, and that's emblematic of large companies when they try to do things like that. If you see a new character like an Image Comics or some creator-owned thing, where that character is like, a minority or a female character or whatever, it's like 9 times out of 10, or actually 10 times out of 10, that character exists because that creator specifically created that character, because they're passionate about it. They love that. They know that character through and through. It's not just, I'm going to take Captain America and then just tag Captain America, make Captain America black and female now, because that'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Like, that really bothers me. That kind of stuff really, pisses me off, and it's like, ugh, really, guys, come on. So yeah, like things like that in the industry, especially with large, huge companies that really don't have any ideas, or try to do the same thing, or try to, create an audience that probably doesn't care about them in the first place, and tries to get that audience. It's all a money thing. And I mean, let's face it, guys. With companies like that, it's only a money thing. Don't look beyond any kind of like, oh, they're trying to include me too. No, they're only doing that so they can get your dollar. Go somewhere else where that's a real thing. Like a creator-owned thing, a creator-owned comic, or maybe an independent wrestling company or something. Like, I'm a big fan of AEW now because, and a lot of people say, well, funny isn't money. Like, that's an old Jim Cornette sort of thing. Anybody who knows Jim Cornette would know that, he's very opinionated when it comes to the wrestling thing. He's more of an old school kind of guy. I enjoy, like, the greatest thing about, especially wrestling right now, and a lot of other things too, a lot of other pop culture things. There's a lot of diversity in terms of what you can watch now. Like, you've got, you've had TNA for a long time in wrestling, and now AEW's great, and there's many independent companies that you can go to and watch your brand of wrestling. Or there's a lot of different comic book companies now where you can go and watch read your brand of comics, things that you want. It doesn't have to be as good as the Hulk is right now. It doesn't have to be the Hulk or Captain America or Spider-Man or whatever. There's a lot of different things, a lot of creator-owned stuff right out there right now that you can enjoy. So, and it doesn't treat you like an idiot. So there's that. I've always disliked that huge corporate think of commandeering pop culture when you've got these giant companies where the people that are in charge are really out of touch with what real fans want. So there's that. What else here? Toys. You know what, man? Toys, that's a really tough one. For me, toys are Lego, action figures, things like that. I love action figures. I don't think you can go wrong with action figures. There's some things out there that are really crap, like Lego knockoffs. I hate that crap. Mega Blocks. Then there's these weird, like, what are they called? I actually drew one of these things for, like, the thumbnail for this video. It's a Brick-a-Bear or Bear Brick. What the hell is that? It's like a bear minifig, Lego minifig, and then they just slap an image on there, like it could be it, but like a bear. What? I hate that shit. I think that's so stupid. I don't know where it came from. I have not done the research. All I need to do is look at it and go, I hate that. That looks so dumb. It's so lazy. And it's a collectible, so it's like, oh, well, you gotta see it in every previews catalog, and, I don't know if it's in toy stores or anything like that, but, I mean, I can't knock toys, man. Toys are awesome. As everybody well knows, I'm a huge Lego fan. Lego's the ultimate toy as far as I'm concerned, but, action figures, things like that, things you can display. I love things like that too. I've always been a huge fan of that. But, like, these knockoff things, like I said, Mega Blocks, and God knows how many other type of Lego knockoffs there are, but I hate that crap. I just find that, again, so lazy. It's like, oh, me too. I want to get into the market too. Well, what are you offering to the market other than just another same thing? We don't need it. Again, I'm not trying to knock it if people love that stuff, but I personally don't like it at all. And the Bear Brick thing, or Brick-a-Bear, whatever the hell that is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I don't know, man. Maybe it's something that some person constructed that gives 90% of the funds to charity or something. And in which case, I'm sorry that I'm shitting on it. But if it isn't, then it's just another stupid knockoff toy or dumb idea that, like, oh yeah, let's put it, like the clown It, as a bear, as this bear thing, this little plastic bear thing, or whatever the hell it is. I don't know. It's just, I find it so dumb and so cheap and so stupid. Like, it just looks to me like it doesn't fit, it doesn't work, It's just like, oh, let's turn everything baby. Like, let's do X-Babies, and let's do Watchmen baby, stuff like that, like the whole baby thing, and before you, and I know what you're thinking, you might be thinking like, well, Rob, you just take everything and make it zombie. Yeah, okay, sure I do, but guess what? I'm one of the only dudes on the planet that does that. First of all, I don't do it for money. If I make money off of it, yeah, great, to support the art, yeah, sure. If I could sell a print, fantastic. But I don't sit there and go, ooh, I'm gonna make a lot of money on this thing. I just sit there and do it because I'm passionate about it and I love it. And you can turn everything zombie, and that's what I love about it. It makes sense. It works. Turning everything a baby, okay, yeah, I get it. But the Brick-a-Bear thing, no, you get out of here, man. You're done. That's not cool. That's not cool for me, man. Anyway, yeah. So I do the zombie thing. It's again, all of those things I do. I'm not just slapping an image on a mass-produced plastic piece of garbage. I'm actually doing real art, turning something into a zombie with pen and ink, paint and all that stuff with actual real resources. So that's a totally different thing. So don't be like, well, Rob, all you do is do zombie stuff. In fact, that's not all I do anyway. So the whole zombie thing is like a huge part of my love for the pop culture thing. But I do other stuff too. So yeah. Regardless, those things are completely different. So yeah. Anyway, anytime, like I get the Funko Pops, I get that. At least they're creative. It's not like one mold that they just slap an image on. Everyone is kind of like different. They all kind of look a bit the same, but they're very diverse, and I get that. I kind of like that. I thank God I didn't get into that because I'd be broke right now. But there's a lot of cool toys out there, but the knockoff stuff I really dislike. It's unnecessary and it's cheap. It's lazy, and a lot of stuff that I dislike or hate. Is stuff that's knocked off or lazy. That's it. That's my whole thing. Even going back to my original point about the big companies like Marvel, DC, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Marvel and DC too. I collect comics like a madman. But again, these companies, like I mostly do it for the artists and writers, and if there's a fresh take on stuff, like I mentioned, the Hulk right now, the Immortal Hulk is fantastic. If you haven't read it, read it. It's really good. And I mean, I'm not bandwagoning. I collected I just collect the Hulk, period. Whether it's the Immortal Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, the Hulk, or whatever, the Savage Hulk, I don't care what it is. I've always collected the Hulk. So it's not like I'm going, oh yeah, everyone likes the Hulk now, so I like it too. I don't bandwagon. I don't have time for that. Or the money for that either. Like I find a lot of people will just gravitate towards things to collect, and I do that to a degree too, but not to the not where I'm like, oh man, I gotta have it because everyone thinks I should have whatever. So I can't. I don't do that. If I did, this house would be full of toys too, more Lego, more comics, blah blah blah. So anyway. I think the root of the problem is, or the thing that I dislike the most is when you have a giant company, they're completely out of touch, whether it be Mega Bloks or and it's not like, oh well, we got to give Lego competition. Lego doesn't need competition, man. Whether it's WWE or Marvel, DC, these big companies, they're out of touch with fans a lot. They do things very poorly in service of the fans that have built them, that have made them who they are, and that's what I dislike. So yeah, it's more of that. That's the root, I think, problem. Wrestlers, do I dislike it? No, you know what, man? I'm just gonna flat out say no. The only thing I would dislike about or hate about a wrestler would be them being unsafe. But there's no one that I would go, oh, I hate Triple H, or I hate CM Punk, or I hate Ryback or Chris Jericho or the Young Bucks or anything. No, you know what, man? The things that they do in the ring are unbelievable, and anyone that says that they could do the same thing or it's fake or whatever, you're not paying attention. So anyway, and you know what? It's too bad that you can't enjoy it. It's an amazing sport, entertainment, a pop culture entertainment sort of industry in general. So yeah, I love wrestling. I love wrestlers. I think they're incredibly talented. Music, jeez. I don't know. I don't hate any music. There's stuff that I just maybe dislike or won't listen to, but there isn't music that I hate. The go-to would be saying, "Oh, Nickelback" or whatever, and I don't hate Nickelback. People hate Nickelback almost to be cool or to say, I hate Nickelback because it's a bandwagon thing. Again, like, I don't listen to Nickelback. I don't necessarily like their music, but I understand why they exist, and they're talented guys. If anything, I would hate an individual in a band or a musician or an artist in music who is an asshole in real life or in general. But I mean, I can't think of anyone. I'm not that into music people in general. Like, I just like music, period. And there's a time and place for kind of everything. There's a time and place for country music. There's a time and place for black metal. There's a time and place. If you look at my CD collection, yeah, I collect CDs, man. You'll see like the most diverse amount of stuff. Like everything. Weird, Florence and the Machine to like Soundgarden to like System of a Down to Kate Bush. Like everything, man. Like everything. So, I love music, period. I there's nothing I dislike. I can't say I dislike anything about music because that's such a personal thing. And like I said, if it comes down to an individual that's being an asshole or whatever, then it's like, okay, I can have something to say about that. But again, it's just opinion and it's just whatever. Maybe that, a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, I met so and so and they were a real asshole. Well, maybe they were just an asshole that day, but that's not maybe emblematic of who they are. I know one thing for sure. Okay, you know what? Yes, I do. I do hate one person, I think, in the music industry or band. I think the band de facto because of this individual being in the band. But I've never liked Kiss. And maybe I'll get shit on for this, but never liked Kiss. I never thought the music was good. I thought they were like the least talented individuals playing music ever, and they were really just a gimmick. Now, there's a couple songs that Kiss do that I like, but I hate Kiss predominantly because of Gene Simmons. I find he's like the most boring, arrogant, useless dick I've ever seen. A friend of mine lent me his book on tape once. I can't remember the name of the book, what it was, something stupid probably. And I remember just listening because I would draw and listen to this book, and I'm like, this guy seems like the most uninteresting guy. I would never want to hang out with this guy in my life. Him going like, oh, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I don't hang out with losers who do this, that, the other thing. Like, man, okay, cool, good for you. He's like, don't buy a car, don't get married, don't do this, don't do that. He was talking about when he was a kid, like he would get comics and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, wow, maybe I can relate to this guy somehow. And he's like, oh, I just got comics so I could sell them and make money. I'm like, oh my god, like, is there any redeeming thing about this guy at all? Like, you know, he got plastic surgery, and he's like still one of the he's one of these guys to me, and maybe and I know there's other people in the world like this, who devotes their entire life to be cool, have money, whatever, but they're not the richest person in the world. They're not the best looking person in the world in their terms. Looks to me don't really matter that much at all. I don't really give a shit. If you're a great person, I love you. I don't care what you look like, really. But here's this guy where it's like, I'm gonna spend all this money on plastic surgery, but still be one of the ugliest guys in the universe with like Brillo hair and all this shit. I'm gonna spend all my time trying to make money, and I don't believe in this whole like selling out thing. Artists selling out. Like, if you can make money as an artist, make it. Try to find a way to make it, because it's hard. Selling out is a word that I guess normals made up, and they don't understand what it means to be an artist. So, oh, you sold out. Okay, I don't believe in that shit at all. But here's Gene Simmons, coming out with every type of article that he could market. Condoms, coffins, all the shit, making Kiss this Kiss suckers, Kiss all this stuff, and he's still not the richest man. That's his whole thing. He's still not the richest man in the world, and that's his whole, that's every fiber of his being. That's his whole idea in life, is to be the richest or to make money, and he's still not. He just seems like the saddest, goof I've ever heard talk. And I would never want to hang out with a guy like that. Never want to meet him. He just there. You know what? Enough. I'm not gonna give him any more attention. I can't stand Gene Simmons and anyone like that. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. Yeah, cool. Whatever, man. To people who don't do drugs and don't drink, fantastic, man. That's awesome. But to put it in terms of making it seem like anyone who does, you know what? You're not better than me, man, because you don't do that. You're not better than me because you try to make more money and all this shit. You're not better than